Hello and welcome. Happy Friday, guys. Just another Friday here doing a Vapers Report. Vapers Reports are brought to you by vapers1.com, and I'm your host, Anthony Ramella. We've got a group here today. I've been talking all week, all right? I've just been talking all week. So I decided I wanted to get some other views about some of the things that are going on in the vape world. So you guys introduce yourselves. Who's with me today?
I'm Tommy.
Tommy, what you vaping on?
A bunch of stuff, actually. I got my Sprite. It's got a strawberry lemonade salt that I picked up from the expo.
Okay.
This little guy, I don't even remember the name of it, honestly. I just
Whizmac.
I think it's the CB80, and then it's Cthulhu Haster Mini Mouth to Lung RTA.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, with a salted caramel tobacco salt, and then my Me Pod that I'm always
with
wearing.
you, yeah.
With Maui Wowie on ice or something like that.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, bunch of different pods.
Go ahead, buddy.
And in my left pocket.
Yeah.
All right, so what I am vaping on today.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm Mark. Yeah. I'm Mark. I've got my Geek Vape Aegis, my Legend 200 with the profile mesh deck, dripping some of the Omega line s'mores, which is available at vapers1.com. And then I have my Nord here running a mesh coil with some grapefruit slush salt nicotine.
Thanks for the shameless plug, by the way. And who is this lovely lady over here?
I'm Megan. I've got my Falcon tank on top of my Old Faithful Majesty with fried nanas, aka my one true love.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, today I decided what we would do is we do a little roundtable discussion here on a rectangular table, but you know, it's all the same. But basically, I've been talking a lot. There's a lot of news that's come out this week. A lot of things that really affect vaping. We're going to talk about some things that are a little bit older, and then we're going to kind of get into some of the newer things. We do release a new liquid every week, so we will get to that about halfway through this. So stay tuned with us. But I'm going to kind of throw these out, and I'm going to kind of step back a little bit. I'm going to let you guys kind of talk about this stuff because you guys know what I think. You've been watching the videos, obviously. Right. You know what I think about this stuff, but I want to know what you guys think about this. So I wrote a few things down here to talk about today. So the first one is up flavor ban. Now, Megan and I, we've hashed this out pretty bad as far as in the last couple of weeks. But give it to one of the guys. Let them, what are your thoughts about the flavor ban? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, my biggest thing is if you ban flavors, it's going to become a black market.
Yes.
I've posted yesterday's Vape AM about the bottles to Reddit.
Okay.
And the amount of people that said, oh, guess it's time to start mixing and get on the black market. Like, I know that's a joke, but at the same time, it will happen.
I don't think it's a joke. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, people are going to do it, but I know like some of the people that were saying that obviously is either a joke or they're already mixing their own juice.
Yeah, and I've been in some of these people's kitchens, and I don't want liquid from there.
Like, it's one thing for people who are like me, who do this as a hobby and have extra time that I already build, might as well make my own juice while I'm at it. But it's only a matter of time before, with everything else coming down the pipeline, they're going to restrict the sale of liquid nicotine.
Right.
You're not going to be able to get the stuff to make your own juice.
Yeah.
So, really, at that point, you're just vaping zero, Nick. And
the sad thing is we'll probably end up, the only place you'll be able to get it from is probably China because they'll figure out a way to ship it to the States. And it's like, that's just one of those things I don't want. You know?
Like,
I mean,
they can't ban flavorings in their base form because they're used for everything.
Right.
So you can always get the flavoring, but it's every other component that you would need to make juice that, if a flavor ban goes through and we're not allowed to get it at a store, it's only going to be a matter of time before I think that, the FDA is going to be like, well, you can't buy nicotine unless you have a certain license or something.
Right.
Or you can't buy VG, PG in large amounts because, it's at a consumer level.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense for you to have all that.
Yeah.
Unless you're...
I hope not, but even some of these states, even from this morning, one of the states is actually banning online sales also.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how they're going to police that, but I mean, they're still putting it on the books. Mark, what do you think? What's been rummaging through your brain? You're big on social media. I see your stuff on there all the time.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
And I think the banning of the liquid, the flavors, is going to be just the domino effect. That's just going to take everything downhill. Good point with the black market type, selling out of the trunk. I've actually had some, tried juice that people have made, and I'm telling you what, it's like booty juice. So
Yeah.
I don't even know why anybody would want to want to buy something from somebody that you don't even know what they're doing.
I'm surprised that's not a brand name. Booty Juice.
Hey,
Yeah.
there we go.
You know, there's some
Remember
weird ones
me.
out there, man.
But it's going to trickle down to, I think, everything if that's going to go into effect. And, I mean, it's horrible. You know, if they want to keep around the tobacco and menthol flavors, you know, people are going to just obviously say, I can do that out of a cigarette.
Well, and Mark, we talk about this all the time, about the age thing, you know, about, you know, the flavors being for young people. I mean, do you like flavors?
I do, yeah, I do enjoy flavors.
Yeah.
But it's not something, I mean, anything catering to the young, you know, obviously is a bad thing, but
It is.
there's a way to do it. I mean, you can control, like in our shops where it's a 21 and over only, you're not going to have a 5 or 10-year-old walk in and be able to purchase what we sell.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm in total agreement with that. And it kind of gets us on to the next topic because I want to talk about Tobacco 21.
Well, and I think I'd like to point out I am the only one at the table right now with a tobacco flavor, and even that's a salted caramel. So
Gotcha.
I mean, what
Yeah.
are they gonna? Yeah, you can make anything a tobacco flavor, but how long before it's just tobacco?
Well, in my experience, it's been easier to get people to get off of their cigarettes by using something that they're familiar with, like coffee. That's always been the nice transition because you have that cigarette and coffee in the morning, kind of starting your day out. And if you can vape that coffee and get your nicotine with it, it's almost like it's filling that gap. It's making that transition a lot easier. Yeah, I don't expect you to jump all the way to strawberry banana, but give them the option to be able to transition off of that because
Right.
we are talking about something that's reduction. It's you know, you're trying to make it something that's better. Like we talked about before, you eat a whole chocolate cake every day and you get down to a Twinkie. That's a huge reduction.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, they make it out so that it looks like we're doing this for kids, and you know, we barely even let kids in our shop.
Right. Do you think that Tobacco 21 is going to stop the vaping epidemic, if I can talk this morning?
Well, did turning cigarettes to 18 stop kids from smoking when they were 12?
No, I don't think it did.
You know, kids are, you know, people are going to get their hands on stuff one way or another. I mean, I've talked to a bunch of our clientele at my store who are in that 19, 20, 21, or, you know, 19 and 20-year-olds, even the 18-year-olds that come in. And I ask them, well, how were you smoke? Did you smoke before? And if you did, how'd you get your cigarettes if you were underage? You know, oh, well, so-and-so bought it for me. Or I had a friend who was a senior. It's not going to stop anything. All it's
Yeah.
going to do is line their pockets more illegally than it already is.
Correct.
And, you know, we don't even even if you're like a day away from 18, we don't let you in our shop to buy anything. But I'm sure you could go to a gas station and they don't even care.
And that's the unfortunate part about it. Mark, I was going to ask you, only because this kind of doesn't really affect us. Like I'm 46, you're 50. You know, why do we care about Tobacco 21?
Well, because I think it's going to be a big loss to the industry for independent stores, independent businesses, big revenue loss. I think you pointed out 20% maybe, 18 to.
Oh yeah, I would say
20-year-old.
somewhere in the 20 to 25% probably
Yeah,
is
so
realistic.
that's for anybody, for any little like stores, any kind of like mom and pop type places that aren't gas stations are going to really feel the hit about it. Obviously, the gas stations, some convenience stores, as you can see, of some of the banning of some certain chains, what they have done with the jewel pods, things like that. They're not going to care anyways. They just go on. They've got the backing to pay the fines, do whatever, and move on.
My biggest concern with it too is that it's going to be much easier to bum a smoke than it is going to be to like get a mod or a bottle of juice or whatever. It's like, hey man, can I just bum a, you know, no, you're not, somebody that's doing that's probably not going to, well, let me see your ID. You know, I mean, that's probably not going to happen. And that's my concern. It's like we're just getting them back on to something that they're going to have to change from again when they hit 21.
Right, and the other thing is the ones that are going to be the fault at any of this that might happen would be the clerks that are actually selling it to, you know, yeah, the company's going to get a bad rap on their image or whatever, but the person that sold it to them, they're the ones that need to be the ones educated on age verification and make sure they don't get in trouble, make sure they're not selling to minors, because that's where the big issue is.
Yeah, and this point always gets brought up, but I feel like if you're old enough to join the military, you should be old enough to make decisions like that. If you're old enough to make a decision about a college, like we talked about last time, I think you're old enough to make a decision about
Yeah, if
this.
you can go into debt by purchasing a house or getting a credit card,
Yes.
you know, at that age, obviously you've made that decision on your own. You can make the decision if you want to, you know, use tobacco, use vaping, whatever, but that's where the 18 should be.
Tommy's dying over here. You got to let him have the mic.
Well, see, I brought up. I don't think I haven't talked to you about it, but it's the, you know, they have laws in say like Germany.
Yes.
Where you can go and drink beer when you're 16.
Yeah,
And
pretty
then
young.
you 18, you can start drinking liquor. Why not make it so that cigarettes are 21, but vaping is 18? Like,
Yeah.
you know, they let you make that decision. You know, you're 18. You know, you're 18. You're allowed to vote. You're allowed to join the military. You're allowed to sign your life away to go to college for $40,000.
Correct.
You know, you could put yourself in massive debt that you may or may not ever crawl out of, but you can't vape.
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna be honest. The reason I started smoking was because of college. That's just how it is. You know, that large amount of money sitting over your head, plus going to school and all that stuff.
Stressful.
It's a stress, and
Yeah.
you know, there's already college campuses that ban smoking, but I can guarantee you, you go to, we'll say, you go to UT, BG, there's kids smoking all over the place. They don't give a shit.
Yeah. Give me that. What about you? How many kids at school are you seeing smoking, vaping?
UT is actually a tobacco-free campus.
Okay.
Yeah, so myself and a handful of other people are the only people that don't care and just vape on campus.
Right.
But a lot of people don't notice, so it doesn't really hurt anybody.
Well, I mean, maybe in your social life, do you see that the levels of smoking have declined, or does it seem like about the
absolutely.
same?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't really even know anyone anymore that smokes. Do you guys?
One or two that
A couple deadbeats that still smoke. But
that's
about it.
Or they're older and you know they've been smoking or dipping
Yeah.
since they were my age and
Yeah, we fear change. I mean, yeah, and I get that. I mean, I was in the same boat. I mean, I didn't start vaping till a few years ago. So yeah, I understand. That was a long time of being on that. And I heard all the bad propaganda when I wasn't in the industry. Like, well, why would I switch to that? Look, it kills you. And it's like, holy crap, what bad information I was getting back then. But it was all headlines, you know, and I was just believing it. Oh, fear, hazardous chemicals, all this. And it's like, nope, sorry. None of that's really true.
You guys know my thoughts on this, but I do agree with you that they should make it 21 for tobacco and 18 for vaping, because a lot of people that I do know, they want to start vaping just because they don't start smoking, because as you said, college is stressful and you need something to relieve that stress. You can't take away all the good things that someone can do to make themselves happy, but give them the opportunity to make themselves stressed out for whatever their poison is. So if you want to start vaping to kind of just relieve some stress, you can do that, or you should
Yes.
be able to at least.
No, I
it's
totally
the American
agree.
way. Stress out until you're dead.
You live, you pay taxes, and you die.
And it's available in zero.
And
You
it
don't
is,
have
yeah,
to
that's
pay
correct. It is
Yeah,
available in
it's
zero.
just a hobby for some people, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, it keeps them from going back to smoking. They've got that hand-to-mouth action. They're
Right.
breathing something out. So it just allows their brain to understand that that's what it is.
And some people just have an oral fixation, you know.
Correct.
And if you want to do that instead of drinking a pack of beer every night, I think you should be able to do that.
No, and I agree with that. Or eat a pack of cookies.
Well, and it's another
That's a
thing
big go.
too. You talk about college campuses. Yeah, it's tobacco free, but what about all the kids that go to the Oasis and smoke hookah? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a hookah bar right off campus.
They actually
But-
have the Rocket Lounge, which
Yeah.
is by UT.
Yeah,
they provide
they're
that.
they're literally across the street from campus. You can go and sit down with 8 or 9 people, smoke a hookah for 4 hours. But that's okay. But you can't have a vape shop. You can't sell cigarettes right off campus. That makes no sense.
All right, Mark, I'm going to give this to you because I know this is going to be the next hot topic here. The youth vaping epidemic. What are your thoughts?
I don't really think, as far as epidemic-wise, vaping more is, it's kind of a tough one with me because of the tobacco cigarette. I don't think, the big thing, I don't think we'd be having this discussion if it wasn't for, like, the Juul pods coming out.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm not
know.
picking on them, as an individual or as a whole, but the thing is, when you talk to the kids that come in, and I call them kids because of my age, but they're not, under the 18, it's like, I want, like a Juul, okay? Have you ever vaped before? No, but I hit my friends and now I want one. Okay, so here you are, you're gonna go directly from doing nothing at all to a 50 nicotine
Yeah.
liquid that you've never even vaped anything else in your life.
And the weird thing about that is if they'd have come into us and we could have shown them flavors and things where they could get the nicotine down, the flavor is actually, I think, more prominent in the lower nicotine levels of flavors as well. So I think the nicotine adjusts the flavor once it gets to a high percentage. So actually their enjoyment of vaping would actually be more if they switched to a device that wasn't a Juul, but because they just don't know any better, that's what they're using.
And really, before all these, like the Juul stuff that came out, I personally really didn't know anybody younger than 18 that was vaping.
Right.
I mean, I knew more that were smoking and chewing, but I didn't know really anybody that was carrying around, a box mod when they were 15, 16 years old.
Right.
Whereas they were, had a round, you could see the wore out round spot on their pocket because of the dip that they're carrying around.
Right, yeah.
And so, up until a little device like that, I didn't even see anything. And I think that was one of the major things where the issues come in at, is because those were, smaller, convenient, and they were trying them at parties. They could have been 16, 17 years old, along with their alcohol, obviously.
Sure.
Most of them. But then they want one.
Yeah.
It was just that fast that.
And I keep going back to the thing that parents need to be educating their kids about this. It's no different than anything else that is dangerous. If you're not talking to your kid, if you're not paying attention, you should know if your kid's vaping, I would think. I mean, there's got to be some telltale signs of that you would see. I just believe that. I know, Tommy, you got to be chomping at the bit.
That's what I was just going to say, Tom. I'm going to hand this over to you because you look like you're getting nervous.
No, I mean, it kind of goes back to you didn't know anybody who was vaping underage. I went to a very expensive private high school.
Okay.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen, and we had to wear, suit and tie, that blazer, basically.
Right.
I can't tell
Hopefully
you how.
not this blazer.
I
but
can't. But I can't tell you how many times I would be sitting in class and someone would be slumped back, and all of a sudden you just see them open their jacket, spit, and put it in, close it back up. They're dipping in school.
Wow.
And they're 16 at again.
And the amount of nicotine you get from chew is
Right.
far beyond anything you're getting from anything else.
And like I said, it's not like it's a poor private school or a poor
Right.
public school or anything. This is parents pay like $10,000 a year for their kids to go here.
Right.
And you're seeing that there. I can't imagine what it would be like at public schools where there's 500-600 kids in a class. My class was only 120 people.
Right.
And I would say, there was a handful of them that were doing stupid things when they were 16.
Yes.
But they were getting their hands on it. And kids are always going to get their hands on something. Why not give, even, it's not just going to be like, it's not an epidemic in the way that they're saying it is.
No, and I don't believe so either. Every
The
news
bad
article
kids.
I read, or every video that I watch, like it's an epidemic in this school, so we searched all the kids and we got 2 devices or
Right.
1 device or what. And it's like, if it's a real epidemic, there should be, I bet I could probably pull more marijuana out of the school than they
Like,
did for vaping devices.
It's an epidemic
realistically.
if over half of your high school population is doing it.
Yes.
Not 2 out of 1,000.
Yeah, it's so low. Now, the one thing that has gone through, and I'm a member of Casaa. I get some of their news articles
Yep.
from them. The one thing that was brought up in one of the states, and I don't know exactly how I feel about this, instead of going to tobacco 21, they compromised and went to basically 19. And the reason for that was because there were too many high school seniors that were 18, and they were buying the stuff and taking it to school with them. How do we feel about that compromise? I mean, I don't want to see the age go up because of all the other arguments before, but it's like, I might be able to swallow that. I understand why that's the case. I understand that that's probably a big part of how they're getting into schools. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think that's a better solution, honestly. I mean, if you're going to restrict it, 19 just seems like a better option just because, again, like you said, seniors are going to get it when they're 18. Unless they got held back, there's not a lot of seniors that are 19 in high school.
Right. Yeah,
So,
that's true.
It makes sense.
And when you're moving on to that college situation, you have to become more mature. I mean,
Right.
that's all part of that situation. You're not going to, at 19, go back to your high school and try and pass stuff out in the parking lot. I mean, that's probably not going to happen.
Unless you were the cool kid.
Right.
But, it's
That's
just
what I
that
love
thing.
about these high school girls.
Yeah, but it's just that thing with, you know, the bad rebellious kids are always going to get their hands on stuff.
Right.
Even if you change the age to 50, you know, someone somewhere is going to get their hands on it. It's not.
There's worse stuff out there than this.
Right.
Yes.
That they can get their hands.
Yeah.
I mean,
how many times do I say it?
obviously-
No one's ever died from e-liquid, ever.
Right.
You know, when you're putting Narcan in schools and that, and making it readily available to the public, yeah, there's other stuff.
Yeah,
readily
I think we have an
available that people can get
opioid
their hands on.
epidemic that's
Yeah.
probably a lot more something that needs to be. When's the last time we saw that in the news?
Yeah.
Well, we had there's a local high school that has the nickname Heroin High. So, that's
Yeah.
why
I think
is that
that's a
not
problem I would
yeah,
like
why
to
is
take
that
care
not
of.
the issue?
Right.
And the fact that 18-year-olds in high school have their jewel at school, and they just get it taken away because it's in school property.
Yeah.
They're of legal age, and it's in their locker. If it's not on, like, if it's on them, I understand, but if it's in their locker on school property, why?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And the other issues with all the searches and stuff that are out there, they can basically search the kids for whatever they want. I'm hoping they find more bad stuff, like other things that maybe they don't realize are an epidemic in their school, but through those searches they get there. I mean, that's the only positive out of that, because I think these unprecedented searches are just a scary, slippery slope that could possibly happen. All right, we're about halfway through, so I'm going to stop here. We're going to go ahead and release the liquid lowdown. So it's time for the liquid lowdown. And we're back. All right, guys, it's time for the liquid lowdown. We release a new liquid every week at our vapor stores as well as vapors1.com. And this week is a pretty cool one. So I'm going to let Tommy roll this out because he loves this company. And I just feel like it's the thing to do. So.
Yeah, so this week's liquid is Unicorn Tears by Sad Boy. And
Releases today.
releases today.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot of information on the actual flavor profile of this, so you're just going to have to come and try it.
That's actually why I kind of passed that
Yeah,
off. It's like, I can't tell you what this tastes like because nobody knows.
If you Google search the liquid, there's like 50, 60 different results on reviews of what it
Guesses.
tastes like. So, like I said, come in and try it. It's always a good time. So.
Yeah, it's funny. The actual description says it's the perfect mix of fruity and savory. What the heck does that mean?
So come on in.
Yeah.
I saw
opinion.
there was it's all their cookie flavors mixed together. It tastes like Fruit Loops, milk and honey, cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah, and we didn't get a bottle before we were able to
Yeah.
start this today, so they're getting delivered to the stores actually today. So I don't know what it tastes like. So I guess maybe we might talk about it next week. I don't know. If it's phenomenal, and it's Sad Boy, so it's gonna be.
It's always
great.
good
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, it's like
Turn my hat back around now.
Sad Boy could come out with the booty juice, and it would probably taste amazing. So yeah, definitely on that as well.
Just
Yeah.
the bottom of the vat for every liquid.
So vapors1.com, don't miss out. It'll be a great deal on that liquid. We'll ship it to you. Vapors1.com. Spend $35 on the site. Shipping's free. Like, I have not seen another site with that low of shipping costs. So I'm thinking a bottle of juice and a pack of coils. Don't be drawn in by these juice companies that are like $9.99 for a bottle, and then you go to ship it out and it's $12.99 shipping and handling. It's like, what? I'm paying more in shipping than I am for the bottle of juice. So don't get tricked by that. We don't do that. Most of the prices you're going to see on the website are exactly what they are in the stores. We just want to be able to get them out to people that can't make it into the stores.
And if you are local and you come to my shop at Spring Meadows, you'll get a deal on it. So come see
This
me.
month only, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
letting Tommy
just for
run
this month. So
I'm letting Tommy run a manager special. So but if you haven't seen the Spring Meadows store, if you live near Airport Highway, Spring Meadows, Holland, how many more names can we give to that? Anywhere near the Walmart on McCord,
Springfield, next to Sam's. Oh, it's right next door to Mancino's.
There you go. Yeah. So just basically, if you jump on vapors1.com, hit the locations, it'll give you a map. You can actually get directions right there on how to get there. And we're all pretty close together. I mean, it's even the Sandusky and other stores, they're not an hour away. So I mean, it's
Right,
really
it's
not
not
that
super
bad.
long.
Yeah. So if you're anywhere in the area, but if you can't make it to one of the stores, believe me, we understand. Order one on vapors1.com. It'll get shipped out like the same day. The nice thing that we do there too, and I want to bring this up because of some other things. We're kind of going to go back into the news stuff here, but I did a Vape AM yesterday, or no, 2 days ago, and one of the comments on there was that we don't do age verification. And I want to kind of dismiss that myth right now. we aren't like some of the pornographic sites and some of the other vape sites that you see out there that basically just either are teaching kids how to count backwards or they're just saying yes with no real thing. If it just says, are you of smoking age, yes or no, that's a very simple thing to just click on and go buy, even if you aren't that age. What we do is if you place an order through vapors1.com, we actually contact you and make you verify that you are the person ordering and that you are of age. So we are taking this to the next level. So don't think if you go to our website that we don't age verify. Actually, we do much more age verification than a lot of the other sites actually do. We just didn't see the point of having that at the beginning because really what's the point? I mean, are you gonna get arrested? Are the internet police gonna come by and say, oh, you said yes to this? You know, because if that's the case, there's a lot of 13-year-old boys going to jail.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so well, some of the new stuff that's come out this week, bottle restrictions and how was Juul affected with this and all of that. So Tommy, I know you got a mouthful to get out about this, and that's why I brought you guys here today. They don't need to hear me say it again. They need to know what you guys think.
I think that, like I said, I posted the Vape AM from the other day onto Reddit, and some people made a good point if they're using the bottles. So the Chubby Gorilla 100 ml V3 is supposed to have that restricted flow. It's supposed to meet that. But I can't tell you how many companies are not using Chubby Bubble or Chubby Gorilla, sorry.
Yeah, but has it been tested and are the certificates available?
And that I'm unaware of.
That is the sticking point to this whole thing.
On top of that too, just because the bottle meets the restriction, that doesn't mean that the juice going into the bottle meets the restriction.
Correct.
Because you can, not every 100 ml, not every juice is made the same. You can have a 70-30 from one company and it's like sludge.
Yeah.
And then you can have a 70-30 from another company and it runs like water.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to a lot of different factors. And even if they, enforce it countrywide, you're going to force people to use a standardized, mixing base so that it also doesn't flow that fast, make everyone use the same bottle. You're creating a lot of monopolies there that
yes,
I thought we weren't supposed to do in this country, but
right.
apparently they do anyways.
Yeah, and
Thanks, Comcast.
Right. But the thing that bothered me the most was that pods, pre-filled pods, had no additional. There wasn't any more restrictions for that, and that concerns me because really the only big pod system that was available back in 2016 was the Juul. And I just felt like we were just giving Philip Morris a monopoly on the entire industry. Not only do you have that new IQOS that came out, which we'll talk about that in a minute, but with the, basically all e-liquid right now is illegal to sell because of this. The worst part about it is if you go back to where they actually implemented this in 2016, actually it started in 2015, but it passed through in 2016, that this flow restriction was already in there, and it said that bottles would need to be tested, but they never set up anywhere to have them tested.
Well, I think they were just hoping that the industry would, self-police like we have been doing.
When has that ever been okay with the government to self-police?
Well,
Yeah.
But I think the biggest issue, like you were saying, the pod thing, even if that's the case, the deeming regulations, anything before, was it something in 2007?
Yeah.
Everything else had to pass the PMTA. And how many companies can afford that?
Well, 2007 was the tobacco ruling that they made. The deeming rule didn't go into effect until 2016.
Well, it said everything that was considered a tobacco product before 2007, which they then turned all the vaping stuff into the tobacco products.
Yeah.
Everything on the market then is not counted towards the regulation.
Gotcha.
Everything after that has to go through the PMTA, which is, I would say, probably 99% of the vape market.
Yes.
But, even with the pre-filled pods, like technically the Juul wouldn't fall under that because they weren't on the market. They still have to pass the PMTA or the PTMA or whatever it is.
Pre-market tobacco application.
So I was right the first time. But they have to pass that. And, how many companies that make the pre-filled pods can afford that other than Juul?
Nobody. No.
Or, maybe Blue.
No, because you're talking $1 million of flavor.
Right.
Plus all the bottle things on it. And the $1 million doesn't even guarantee you approval.
Right.
Obviously it wouldn't. Why is it so much?
Well,
holy mackerel.
Because we need money.
Because we don't have any cigarette tax. That's part of it.
Maybe the government shouldn't have made a really bad settlement with the tobacco industry in the 80s.
Yeah. All right, Mark, got to get your thoughts on this. So bottle restrictions and the effectiveness of Juul.
Well, the bottle restriction's something else. I don't know if you guys looked at that device that they're kind of using to do this bottle restrictive, this testing. To me, the thing looks kind of primitive. I mean, I saw the, like the drawing, like the kind of like the design of it from the, I don't know, like the designer aspect of it.
So is it like a
And
mechanical 5-year-old hand? Is that what it is?
it's got, yeah, well, actually, yeah, there's a lot. They're using, I guess like placebo juice or something to test this thing with the squeezing of certain pressure. And it looks like quite the equation that you have to use in order to verify what the amount that you're dumping. And it's also, it looked like a certain type of equation that had to be done to make sure the machine was actually doing it right.
Gotcha.
It looked like it was designed out of the University of Michigan,
Okay.
I believe it was. And there are a couple names associated with it, which I'm kind of curious to look up and see where they would come up with this, or who would come up with an idea to have a bottle, something like that even designed. And I don't even know what year it was, what year
So
it
is this
was
something
created.
that's actually physically available for use right now?
Have not looked into it. I mean,
Okay.
you can see they got a picture of one of them.
It's like a prototype?
I don't even know if it's a prototype,
Okay.
but it's not really that good of a picture either. So I'm not, quite sure where they're going with this. And I know you were, talking about that with IQOS
Yeah.
system and I don't know if you want to wait.
Oh, yeah, no, we can go. Yeah.
But like you had said, and I agree that it kind of came out at a peculiar
Yeah,
time. When
timing
both
was a
of
little
these-
strange for sure.
Yeah, with this. Now, if they're allowing this IQOS, and they're calling them what, flavor sticks?
Heat sticks.
Or
Heat sticks.
Heat sticks. So, with this going into production and being available, how long is it going to be before you're going to have actual strawberry sticks?
Yeah, I know.
They want to do the flavor bans on liquid, but is this going to open the door for them to be able to create a strawberry banana heat stick, a flavor that you can actually use, but you wouldn't be able to vape through a liquid? It would have to be through this combustible.
Well, and there are companies that make those
unit.
flavored drops to flavor tobacco with. Now, how easy would it be to turn one of those sticks up down, put a few
And-
flavors
and
in,
put-
and
right.
rock and roll with it? Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know if I'm not sure. It's kind of, my head's spinning from all this information.
It is.
And there's a lot to look up. I mean, there's really, and just typical internet stuff. You believe this, you believe that, you believe this, you believe that. You kind of got to do your own termination and look into it a little more in regards to what's true and what's not.
Okay. I'm gonna ask Megan something real quick. If, let's say vaping was totally eliminated, you couldn't buy vape liquid anywhere, but this particular device was available where you could stick like a small cigarette into it and heat up the tobacco to the point where it wasn't combustible. Is this something you would even consider using?
That's a tough question.
Okay.
Because I'm very heavily addicted to nicotine.
I know you are, and that's. But I mean, that's what the people want to know. It's like, do you think this is a step in that direction that if all
They're
this
trying
went
to
away?
push us back towards cigarettes.
Because
so
it
they
is
can start
still
leeching
a-
off of
it-
us again. Is that what you're asking?
Well, basically, it is still, it's still bringing the health risk down. I don't want to talk like it's like the devil, because it's really not. I understand that this, like we were saying before,
95% safer or
right.
something than
And it is an FDA approved
tobacco.
product. It's not. I don't particularly like that flavor. I don't want that. And it's not like dryer vaporizers or some new technology they just came out with. I mean, they've been around
Right.
forever for supposedly tobacco at every head shop that I've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, we all know what's going on there. And it just feels like that's what they did. They took that design and designed it for a cigarette. And I'm just curious, we've got an age difference. So I'm like, for me, would I do that? Probably not. But for somebody who, is heavily addicted to nicotine, that doesn't have the capability of mixing their own liquids, you're going to school. You're a busy lifestyle.
Yeah. Do we know how much safer it is than traditional
Yeah, the actual
cigarette?
FDA, they've put out legit. The
you
funny
know?
thing is, IQOS is not allowed. Yeah,
safer.
it actually
They're
says
claiming that.
yes. And it was weird. The number was exactly the same too.
Yeah, like the Royal College of Physicians said about vaping, 3 years ago now?
Right. The funny thing is, the IQOS are not allowed to make health claims either.
Interesting.
And I noticed these are going to be sold in high-end, they said Apple-looking type stores.
Okay. But I want Megan's answer on this before we go too much farther. So
I would probably get one if that were my only option, but just for moments that I'm really need it, that I'm
Yeah.
really stressed out. But
Yeah.
I would try and wean myself off of just about anything. Because I've
it's
come
not
this
a-
far, I really don't want to backtrack to how damaged I was before.
right, and it's not a bad answer because I expect most people would.
Yeah.
You know, if this isn't available anymore, okay, I don't want to go all the way back to full-fledged cigarettes. Let me try this and see what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to taste like booty juice in your mouth because it's just nasty tobacco
not
flavor.
pleasant.
No, it's not pleasant
And I don't
at all.
miss everyone having a distaste for my presence when
Yeah.
I'm around.
What, you don't like being the leper? I mean, what's wrong with that? You know?
I
Yeah,
like
and that's it. It really is pretty bad. So, we can go on. So let's give it to Tommy because I'm sure he's great for information though. So that's why I love having him on the show.
Well, so like they said, they released it in Japan in 2014.
Correct.
And honestly, the only reason I think it took off in Japan was because they banned vaping 100%.
There you go.
So, you know, Japan has so many people packed in. Their lifestyle is so stressful that, you know, you had all these people smoking, and they weren't smoking like American cigarettes. Have you ever seen Japan cigarettes? They're like
I haven't actually.
they're like half the size around and just skinny and long.
Okay.
Yeah, they almost look like a really badly rolled joint.
What was that cigarette brand that was out that had the really tiny ones?
Misties?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, it basically, you know, when I was,
Capri, that was the name of that company
Yeah.
that had
I think
those.
so.
because when I was at BG, there was a lot of Japanese foreign
Oh, okay.
exchange,
Yeah.
and you know that's when I was smoking, and we'd hang out outside.
Sure.
And a guy, you know, he had his Japanese cigarettes, and he just handed them to us because we were like, oh, those are weird.
Right.
And then we were like, oh, it's just a regular cigarette, but you get like no burn time on it. Yeah.
And that one's done. Yeah.
So, you know, they banned it. You know, they banned vaping in Japan. That's probably why it took
Was
off
that a
so
tax thing that they did that? Was it money
don't know.
motivated?
well. I don't look into any reason Japan
Crap.
gives. for
Tommy, you're going to make
anything.
me have to go and do research.
Look,
And
Japan
what would make Japan the test market for this?
again because
Out of all the
Because they don't have
countries
vaping, yeah.
because they don't have vaping and there's a high number of people smoking in Japan.
So it sounds like it was a pre-planned test market for them.
Yes.
Whether it's going to win approval or
But
however you might want to look at it.
if you look at all those countries where they had it before us, who had vaping and then let them have, because like I think some Australians got their hands on it,
Right.
and we're like, this is just smoking.
Yeah.
And the the heat sticks, they're basically just tiny cigarettes. They're like that big,
Okay.
and it's lined with foil on the inside, so you're not burning the paper.
Okay.
And apparently, the tobacco is coated with what is either propylene glycol or vegetable glycerin because it's not dry.
Okay.
So that's why it doesn't burn.
Okay.
Yeah, you put a dried tobacco leaf, you know, everything's different, everything has its own different burning points, but you heat something like that to 400 degrees, it's probably going to burn unless it's coated with something.
Yeah, I think it's 300 degrees is what it heats them up to. So it's like right below the level.
Right.
Because they're saying combustion on those is about 600 on a typical cigarette. So that's what they did. They tried to lower that.
You
as
know,
much as
what's
they
going to
could.
stop people from trying it with regular cigarettes? And honestly, if you're going to buy the heat sticks for the same price as regular cigarettes and the $30 device, who's going to do that?
Yeah, that was my next question. What's the cost involved?
I'm guessing roughly $30 for the device.
Okay.
But I've seen, you know, from other places where they're saying that the heat sticks are about the same price as a regular pack of cigarettes. So why would you do that?
So they're half the size, and so you're going to have to buy twice as many because you're used to smoking a full cigarette?
Well, it's supposed to give you the cleaner nicotine, and it may, you know, you may still get the same amount of nicotine in
Yeah.
that as a regular cigarette. But again, you know, it's half the size.
And it's
if
going to be
you're
one of those
not-
situations like you don't know when it's done until it's like, oh, okay, that one's done.
Yeah, you
You
burn
know?
burning the filter.
Right.
Yeah, but you know the IQOS, like, yeah, it's a good idea in a dystopian future where we didn't have this to begin with,
Yeah.
but we have better alternatives.
Have you ever, speaking about that, that's just funny. You know, the Fifth Element.
Yeah.
There's a spot in the very beginning where this cigarette comes down, and it's like this much filter and that much cigarette.
Yeah, and
It kind of feels similar to that.
and you know, me being a little bit older than Megan and not anywhere near as old as you guys. You guys got
Yeah,
a whole.
yeah.
You guys,
Thank you, Tommy.
25.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But, you know, you guys got, I could be your guys' kids.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm not super addicted to nicotine. Like, I mean, yes, I'm using 3 different nicotine salt devices,
yeah.
but I don't hit it as much as those.
Right.
And if vaping just goes away, I don't think I would need it, but I tried quitting smoking before. It lasted for like 3 months, and then I
Right.
got stressed out, and I started smoking again.
Yeah, and that's my big concern too.
So
it really is.
You take something away that's, yes, it's a crutch, and yeah, I probably could vape 0 and be fine right now, but I still need something when I'm really stressed out.
Yeah, and those of you out there that are not smokers, or you think this is all, well, just quit. Give up your coffee. I dare you. For a week.
I'm not.
No, I know, and no one else would either. And you're talking about things that are sweet flavored and, addictive to under people under the age of 18. You want a cup of black coffee?
It's like asking Anthony to give up his Diet Mountain Dew.
Yeah, try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is that, it's really not as much the nicotine that's addictive. It is addictive, yes, but how many studies have been shown that it's not just the nicotine that's addictive?
Well, and that's a good point.
It's the MAOIs that tobacco produces when burned. It's the ammonia that they treat to supercharge the nicotine.
And we talk to people about that when they come in to switch over to vaping. It's like, listen, your body's addicted to other poisons that aren't going to be in this, and you need to realize that's the issue. You got to give it a good 3 solid days of no cheating before your body starts to not need that particular thing. And it's bad, because there are people like, I just couldn't get into vaping because it wasn't. I'm like, it's not that. You are addicted to some weird poison that's in that your body has just said, no, I'm used to having this every day. I got to have it. Yeah. And that's part of the problem. All right, so last topic of the day, we're going to talk about I vape, I vote. I don't want to get into anything political with this. I just want you guys to talk about that, talk about I love flavors and my vote counts, and what's this presidential election going to be about? Is this going to be a hot topic? What do you think?
I think that for the presidential election, it's going to be a hot topic for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
Not for us. It's going to be more of the same, protect the children, blah, blah, blah. And, it's weird to me that, we have this weird bipartisan thing where everyone's on their own side. That's not how it works. Everyone's a centrist once they get in there. You have a Republican senator trying to pass Tobacco 21. What is why is a Republican trying to restrict freedoms?
Yeah.
That's the party that's not supposed to do that. But you have Democrats on the other side. They're like, this is stupid.
Well, and once you get elected to office, and I heard an elected official say this one time, it's like, you don't get to decide those other people, but you have to work with them. You have to get to the point once you're elected that bipartisanship has to be. You've got people that, you may be co-sponsoring a bill with 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. It's not that they both, care about each other's political. It's like this thing that they're dealing with is they both feel strongly about, and that's what gets things done.
And it makes sense, but like when it's, the Tobacco 21 getting introduced in the federal House by the speaker who was a Republican.
I know.
Not just,
not just some fly-by-night guy from,
it's not some random dude from California that we've never
Howie
heard about.
in the hills.
Yeah. And the worst thing you could do, like at the state level, you can talk to your officials because they actually listen to you.
Yes.
Your vote directly impacts them a lot more. But once they get into the Senate and there's no term limits and they don't give a shit.
Yeah,
you can try and talk to Mitch McConnell. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, Mark, tell him about the response you got when you sent, because you sent that to me. Somebody actually responded to the email or whatever that you sent out to him.
I still have it, I think, in my email somewhere. It had to do with thank you for your concern or whatever it was in the issue, and he appreciates the feedback from the public.
I thought it was a nice letter.
It was very well, but is it?
Yeah, I mean, they even give you a phone number. Any other concerns, call us at this number.
And as far as with the elections and what's going on in the vaping industry, my personal thought is that the way this is moving right now is it's not going to make it to the presidential election. I mean, this is going to be a lot of this will be done and over before the next election.
I'm really hoping that's not the case. And if you guys think that you're calling into these places and things doesn't work, I'm going to give you an example of a different industry where it actually did work like immensely well. The supplement industry. They wanted to regulate that. They wanted the FDA to be involved with it. They wanted all these supplements tested through the FDA. And people that took vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin D, all of those things, wrote, called, and they said there were more people that wrote in about that topic there than did about the Vietnam War. I was like, what? So, you know, your voice does matter. It's just got to be a lot of voices. It can't just be me. It can't
be a
just be
single
us.
voice. It's got to be everybody out there doing their part to make things known, to bring up these issues and get a hold of your representative, get a hold of, you know, you don't have to be in Ohio. You know, Colorado's got stuff going on with their tax. Obviously, the flavor bans on liquids, you know, is like blowing through California. So, I mean, it's the time now because this stuff's going to be like a bullet train that's just
Yeah, I think San Francisco
going
keeps twisting the
that quick.
screws to get Juul out of their city. I think that's really the biggest thing, and I don't know why they stay there. It's like, move somewhere else. You know, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Juul, obviously, but I mean, if a city really doesn't want you that bad, find somewhere that actually does. Quit giving them tax money and rent and all that other stuff. Get out. You know, let that 46 square miles deal with themselves.
They already know my thoughts.
Yeah, we talk about this quite a
All
bit.
right.
So one last question that goes along the lines with this, and I've asked this to a few people the last couple of days, and I always get this stunned response. All right, so this is the question. So no matter what political side that you're on, all right, let's say, I'm just going to use this as an example, all right? So let's say you're a Republican, you know, and you really, you do want to vote that way, but the other party says that if they're elected, they'll keep flavors and they'll leave vaping alone, and the party that you like says, we're going to ban all this stuff and we're going to stop it right now, will you still vote for your candidate?
No. Absolutely not.
Me being kind of dead center, I am technically, it's a left-leaning centrist.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. If your stuff falls in line with what I want, I'll vote for you.
Okay.
You know, that's the problem with bipartisanship. You know, you don't
It is.
have.
You're going to have many people that will comment on this video right here
Right.
about this question, and they'll be like, "Hell no!" But think about that. Think
Yeah.
about the business that's going to be involved
Well,
with it.
it's
Think
like-
about the job losses that will come with it. You know, there are a lot of things with that. Yeah. Would I have voted for? I'm trying to think of somebody obscure, but I mean somebody that I absolutely had zero and they're like, well, yeah, I'll save your vaping if you vote for me because this guy over here is going to end it. It's like,
I mean, that's
you know,
like,
it really is. It's a tough question to answer.
with the last presidential election. You know, I didn't vote for the main party candidates. I voted for Jill Stein. She made the most sense. I mean, she was crazy, but she made the most sense.
And that's your right. I mean, it really is.
Either way you look at it, they're gonna tell you what you want to hear
Okay.
to get your vote, and I do believe, you know, they get your vote, they get in, and guess what happens? Things stall.
Oh, yeah.
It's typical politics, and I don't think that's going to change. So that it really is a tough topic to, you know, obviously, if they're going to say they're going to do something, now you're kind of in a catch-22 because one half of my brain says they're full of crap. The other half of my brain says, well, you know, should we roll the dice and take the chance and maybe they will do something? So it's one of those things that it's hard to answer.
Yeah, and it's one of these questions I think is going to come up.
Here you go, Tommy.
Like somebody, if we're doing large, you know, one of these large debates with 7 or 8 people that are trying for the party, I honestly believe one of them is going to throw that hat in the ring. You know, they're going to throw it out there and be like, okay, I'm for this because it is a healthier alternative. It is a healthier lifestyle. You know, you're going to reduce the amount of nicotine or you're going to reduce the amount of poisons that you're taking into your body. So we believe in this and we think it's the way to go. But everything else in their platform is like, you know, it'd be like David Duke. That'd be a good example of that. David Duke is pro-vaping. Would you vote for him? You know, I mean, that's a crazy concept to think about. You know, all of his other things, you're like, hell no. But that one area, it's like,
Well, let me put it this way. You know, the president can only do so much.
that's true.
He has the, the presidential thing that he can just do whatever he wants every now and then. Vote for Congress.
Yes.
Vote for your Congress people because those are the ones that actually get the bills started and will work towards getting those passed. even if it dies at the president, at least something's happening somewhere where it can actually go through. You know,
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys out there, think about the stuff we talked about today. Please go down, check out the comments. Like I've been telling you guys, you need to ring the bell. Even if you're subscribed to the channel, you don't always get every episode, and I've heard this from other reviewers. Ring the bell and you'll get notified for these things that come out. We want your comments, even if you don't like, even if you don't subscribe, if you want to comment that you're happy with what we're talking about. If you think we're a bunch of morons, I want to know that too. I mean, I want your comments because this is a conversation that needs to happen. The more we talk about this, the more information that spreads around. There are things that I learned today. You know, and I research constantly. It's funny. I go home from here and I'm just on there watching videos and reading articles and stuff like that because it's the only way that I can keep up to speed on this stuff because I want to concise this stuff for you guys so you can get this information. Okay. Here at the Vapors Report, we want to bring you information that you can use because you gotta stop smoking or you're gonna die. All right. So I'm Anthony Ramella.
I'm Tommy.
Mark?
And Megan.
And we'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned on Monday for a new episode of Vape AM. I'm going to be coming to you guys as often as I can because it doesn't look like I'm going to run out of news anytime soon. So thank you guys so much for being with me here today. We may continue doing one of these. I may mix up who's here just to kind of get different viewpoints on different things that we're talking about today. But we appreciate you guys. We love you. Please check out vapors1.com so I can keep doing this. But we'll see you next week. Same vape time, same vape channel. I'm Anthony Ramella. See you next week.